Hello, I'm Courtney. What's up and welcome to Book Talk. Today I'm going to be discussing Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I read this on the very first day of BookTube. It's not like I started it on day one and then I finished it a little bit before midnight, and it was so awesome because I read one book on the first day of BookTubeathon, and that just made me very proud. But I loved this book so much. It was so much fun for me to read, and I just loved Simon. I just loved the story, and it was just so good. If you don't know what this book is about a guy named Simon, and he knows that he's gay, but he just hasn't come out to anyone yet, and he's been talking to this guy online, which he's called Blue, and it's just about their relationship through them emailing and trying to figure out who's who, and also Simon's journey of coming out to people and all this drama happening in high school and just life, and it's beautiful. This is definitely one of my favorite books of 2016 because it just answered a lot of questions I've had, because I've definitely wanted to read books lately with gay and lesbian main characters, and I just really liked the mindset of Simon, and I want to read more books with gay people because honestly I love them to death and I want to see more of their story, and I really hope people start to write more main like gay and lesbian characters because honestly they're so much fun to read. Honestly, I thought the love story in this was much cuter than a lot of contemporary books, and I've read a lot of contemporaries, and don't get me wrong, I love a good old, boy and girl meet and fall in love story, but the story in this is just so cute and unique, and I just love it so much. If you haven't read this book yet, I highly recommend you reading it because you will love it so much. It's so good, and I love Simon, but this book was just so good and so realistic. Like, I could see this happening in real life, while with a lot of other contemporaries, I honestly couldn't see some of the things that happened in those books happening. But with this, it just felt so real, and I was just like, I could honestly meet someone like Simon because he's such a realistic character and he's so relatable, and that's why I loved reading him. But if you have not read this book yet and you do not want to be spoiled, I would leave now because I'm about to go into spoilers, so bye not spoiling people. Okay, so Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. First off, let me just talk about my bae, Simon. Oh my gosh, I love him. He was so much fun for me to read, and I honestly think I read this book so quickly because Simon was just so much fun, and I never wanted to put the book down because I was just like, Simon's just the best though. Something I loved about Simon was how realistic he felt. Like, I honestly feel like when I go back to school, I could meet a guy like Simon, and I want to because Simon was so much fun, and I want to be a part of Simon's squad because his group of friends was just the best, and I loved everyone. Even though there was a lot of drama between the friends, that was kind of getting on my nerves. Like, I found it so interesting how even though Simon's not in like a love triangle like his friends are, and there's just, the relationships in this book were really complicated, and I just found it so funny. Like, there was a situation with Lee liking Nick, but Nick liked Abby, and Abby liked Nick, but then Martin liked Abby, and there was the blackmail situation, and then it was like setting up Cal and Simon, and then there was Bram, and then there was Blue, because he didn't know who Blue was, and just it was so complicated. Oh my gosh, speaking of the whole blackmail situation, I found that really interesting, but I honestly thought that wasn't the biggest part of the book. And yes, there was like moments dealing with the black deal, like Martin would be like, oh hey Abby, right there, hook me up with her, but I feel like it wasn't very talked about much unless Martin was there. And then there was the whole TUMBLR post, which that made me cringe. Oh my goodness, speaking of TUMBLR, I loved how big of a plot like that was. Like, TUMBLR was talked about every 5 seconds, and I loved it because Tumblr's the best. and how there was like a school Tumblr where they like confess stuff and it's like an anonymous thing. That was so cool, and I think my school had something like that this past year. But I think it was like an app though, and it was a nationwide thing, and like everyone posted like these confessions and stuff, and people would have to like figure out who it was. It was crazy. But I'm glad the blackmail thing wasn't as big as a deal, because I mean it was a big deal, but it wasn't really a big deal, and I feel like Simon kind of took it in a big deal, especially when he blew off Martin. Now that was a little unnecessary. Like some of the things Simon did, I was kind of like, buddy, calm down. Simon definitely has issues. I think he has anger issues, and sometimes I was kind of like, Simon buddy, just take it down a few notches, like it's gonna be okay. But one of my favorite moments was when he went home to get his t-shirt and he's all drunk, and his parents are just like, Simon, are you okay? And Simon's just like, I'm gay. And then his dad's like, no, you're drunk. It was so funny. Speaking of favorite scenes, my favorite scene was probably, well, obviously the end. The end was so cute, but I'm gonna talk about that later. But I loved Simon coming out. I loved how Simon, he came out on the same day as like Blue came out to his mom, right? Yeah, his mom. I think he told his mom first, but how they both did that, and just, I was so proud of them. I was cheering them on because I honestly felt like these are real people, and I was just like, go you! Oh my goodness, the emails. I loved reading the emails between him and Blue and how he called himself Jocks. I don't know how to pronounce his fake name. Every time I read it, I was just like, I'm probably thinking this wrong, but you know, it doesn't matter. But the emails, oh my gosh, they were so cute. I love them, and the whole Oreos. Oh, every time I'm gonna see an Oreo now, I'm just gonna think of Simon. I did find it weird that Blue didn't want to like see Simon, because they had been talking for so long and they obviously feel something for each other, and they're even saying love in their emails, but even through all of that, he didn't want to see Simon, and I was just like, but why? Wait a minute, I got to talk about this. Who did you think Blue was? Because, okay, I was deciding between Cal, Martin, and Bram, and I feel like for a good bit I thought it was Cal, because, you know, Cal was making moves, and then Cal said at one point that he was bi, and I was just like, are you Blue? But then there was the email, and like Simon got 3 things wrong about the guy, so I was just like, okay, so it can't be Cal. And then later on, when Simon made the prediction about the president name with Martin, I was just like, you know, it could be Barton, but Bram? I literally was like, okay, it's gotta be Bram, because Abraham Lincoln, Bram, Abraham, it's there. And then guess what, you guys? Blue is Bram, and I literally screamed out loud at like 11 o'clock because I was just like, I was right! I can't believe Simon didn't even realize that. Like, they were on the ride and Simon was like, wait a minute, how's your name from a president? And Bram was like, Abraham. And Simon was like, oh, like, what? Simon, you're stupid. But I just can't believe that I was right about the whole Bram thing, because I was rooting for Bram after the president thingamabob. I was just like, please let it be Bram. And you know, Bram wasn't even that important. Like, yes, he was at the lunch table, and then he was at the soccer thingy, but you know, he wasn't really there. But I was just like, it's gonna be Bram. It's gonna be Bram. And then it was, and it made me so happy. Bram and Simon are goals. Like, when Simon was on the tilt-a-whirl, and then Bram came and he complimented on Simon's shirt, and he was like, I know this Elliot Smith, and Simon was just like, it's you. And Bram was like, I know I'm late. Feelings. I honestly need to read more books with gay couples because they're so cute. I love them. Like, honestly, Bram and Simon are cuter than some contemporary couples. I'm just saying, like, they're so goals. I just loved the moments we got to have with them at the end. It was so beautiful. And then how Alice gave them the house for like 2 hours and they hung out and everything and they were kissing and just, oh my gosh, it was so cute. This book just gave me all the feels and just, oh my gosh, I loved it. Simon and Bram, they're so cute. They're my precious gay sons and I love them to death. But that, my friends, were my thoughts and feels on Simon versus the Homo Sapiens agenda, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to watch more book talks from me, you can click the subscribe button down below. I'm Courtney, and I'll see y'all next time with a new video soon, so I will see you then. So, bye!